Hey everyone, and welcome. I am absolutely thrilled you're tuning in today because we have a truly fascinating explainer lined up for you. We're going to take a really dense, highly demanding creative brief for a cinematic USA documentary, and we are going to systematically break it down into actionable production pillars. If you've ever wondered how on earth you translate a massive wall of text and these super lofty creative ambitions into a structured visual reality, well, you're in exactly the right place. We're going to parse the DNA of this single paragraph and uncover the actual blueprint hidden inside of it.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our complete brief, the source text. Now, I know at first glance this looks totally overwhelming. It's just this massive run-on list of ideas, locations, technical requirements, and emotional goals all packed into a single block of text. I mean, it's asking for a sweeping national narrative, cutting-edge technical specs, and a very specific emotional resonance all at once. It's a lot to process. But don't worry, we aren't going to try to tackle this all at the same time. We're going to deconstruct this paragraph piece by piece to see exactly how these instructions map out into a project you could actually execute.
But hold on, before we even look at the specific locations or the camera gear, we have to recognize the primary constraint that governs absolutely everything in that massive paragraph: 60. As in 60 seconds. Every single breathtaking national park, every intricate camera movement, and all of these epic Hollywood-level ambitions, they must be perfectly squeezed into a tight 1-minute window. This constraint literally dictates your entire pacing. You can't linger. You have to be economical, impactful, and incredibly fast. So, to make sense of this demanding 60-second challenge, here is our plan for this explainer. 1. The 60-second cinematic blueprint. 2. Mapping the iconic landmarks. 3. Technical execution and 4K visuals. 4. Crafting the mysterious atmosphere. And finally, 5. Engaging the target audience. Let's start with Section 1, the 60-second cinematic blueprint. Right off the bat in the text, it explicitly demands Hollywood-quality production. We aren't just talking about a casual travel vlog or a quick social media post here. This instruction sets the ultimate standard. It basically means that despite the super short runtime, this documentary-style piece has to punch at the absolute highest weight class of media. Every single frame has to look like it had a massive crew and a blockbuster budget behind it. Moving right along to Section 2, mapping the iconic landmarks. The source material really neatly lists out these required geographical anchor points. We've got the Statue of Liberty, Times Square, the Golden Gate Bridge, the White House, the Grand Canyon, and the New York skyline. Notice the massive coast-to-coast scope here. We're jumping from the intense, glowing urban density of Times Square all the way over to the sprawling, natural vastness of the Grand Canyon. It's literally a cross-country journey that you have to pull off in under a minute. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the brief doesn't just want a slideshow of monuments, right? It dictates a really dynamic flow of B-roll footage. It specifically calls for bouncing between serene nature, like breathtaking national parks, right, into the urban chaos of busy city streets, and grounding all of that with symbolic patriotism through American flags waving. It's asking for this incredible rhythm of contrasts: nature and city, stillness and motion, geography and symbolism.
All right, Section 3, technical execution and 4K visuals.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how precise and demanding these visual instructions actually are when you categorize them. The prompt is not vague at all. Under camera work, it mandates aerial drone shots and realistic camera movement. For visual fidelity, it demands 4K visuals, HDR, sharp details, and vibrant colors. And for editing, well, to fit all this into 60 seconds, it explicitly requires fast-paced transitions. It is a highly rigorous technical checklist that literally leaves zero room for low-resolution or static, boring imagery. Let's look a little closer at one of those specific terms, HDR, or High Dynamic Range. The text pairs HDR with 4K resolution and vibrant colors to guarantee what it calls ultra-realistic visuals. The inclusion of this specific technical requirement ensures the final product is going to have the highest possible visual fidelity. We're talking razor-sharp contrast between the brightest skies over the Golden Gate Bridge and the absolute deepest shadows inside the Grand Canyon. That brings us to Section 4, crafting the mysterious atmosphere. And this brilliantly illustrates the duality of the prompt. We have this direct contrast between the physical, tangible subjects and the required intangible mood. Think about it. On one side, we have straightforward things to film, flags waving in busy streets. But on the other side, the brief demands dramatic lighting and a mysterious cinematic atmosphere. The instruction here is meant to transform the ordinary. A basic shot of a busy city street just isn't enough.
Through dramatic lighting, it has to become something deeply cinematic, textured, and slightly mysterious. It's all about elevating the literal into the emotional. So, how do you bind that mysterious atmosphere together with those fast-paced transitions we talked about earlier? Well, the text introduces a very specific auditory requirement: epic orchestral background music. This is the essential glue of the entire project. When you have this massive visual scope changing at an absolute breakneck pace, you need a grand, sweeping musical score to make the whole 60 seconds feel unified and monumental rather than just purely chaotic. And finally, Section 5, engaging the target audience. So the crucial point is that all of those aerial drone shots, all those fast transitions and those sharp 4K visuals are entirely in service of hitting 3 very specific psychological impacts. The prompt literally states, the video must feel inspiring, informative, and highly engaging. If your final product has beautiful HDR colors but totally fails to inspire or inform, well, it has failed the brief. The technology absolutely must serve these core emotional pillars. And who is this all for exactly? The text specifies right at the very end for a USA audience. This dictates your entire cultural tone. The iconic landmarks and those American flags waving are specifically curated to resonate with a domestic demographic. It's about tailoring that epic, mysterious, and inspiring atmosphere into something highly relatable and culturally significant for that specific viewer. So there you have it. We've taken an incredibly dense paragraph and completely unpacked it into locations, technical specs, atmosphere, and audience impact. It's a massively demanding blueprint squeezed into a tiny, tiny time frame. So I'll leave you with this final thought. Armed with this deconstructed list of requirements, from the sweeping Grand Canyon drone shots to the epic orchestral score, could you step up and deliver this 60-second masterpiece? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep looking for the structure hidden inside the noise. Catch you next time.